Welcome to F1 Goes Neo. I'm Kshitij. With me, I have Rahul and Drax. So, this Sunday, we had the first race of the 2020 season, the Austrian Grand Prix, and we were amazed by this race. I mean, this is what we were waiting for, and this race was not short of excitement, and we saw whatever we wanted to see. So now, Rahul and Drax, what are your opinions about this race? Let's begin with qualifying.
Yeah, so qualifying was pretty insane. I mean, we all knew Mercedes would have pace, but I don't think anyone expected to see where Ferrari would end up. Vettel was out in Q1, in Q2, which is like, I think the first time ever in his Ferrari career where he's been knocked out on pure pace instead of like a strategy blunder like we are used to.
Yeah.
So
I think
Drax, you want to go down the order, like run us down the order?
no, what I want to say is, if you look at FP1 timings, all the free practice timings, it was pretty clear that the trade-off between Ferraris of reliability and power, it didn't go very well. Ferrari went to midfield this season, so
that is.
I mean, it wasn't surprising for me to see Vettel down in midfield. So if you look at qualifying results right now,
So in Q1 we had Magnussen out, Russell out, Giovinazzi out, and Kimi out, along with Latifi. And I mean, the Williams weren't too much of a surprise, but to see Kimi finish 19th or qualify 19th was quite a surprise.
The Ferrari engines did have an issue throughout qualifying and free practice, so
Yeah.
not a surprise over there.
Q2 saw Grosjean out, Ocon out, Kvyat out, Gasly out, and Vettel out, which was the surprise. But I mean,
that was a shocker.
yeah, the Ferraris finished 10th and 11th, so one of them had to go out, I guess, and that was just happened to be Vettel. And that led us to the top 10, which was Bottas took pole, Hamilton second, which isn't much of a surprise. Verstappen finished third. He's been historically strong at the circuit. Surprise was Lando Norris, who qualified fourth.
yeah,
Fantastic result for Lando Norris. I mean, that McLaren throughout the weekend had been strong, and we saw that through FP3, FP2, FP1, and throughout qualifying. I mean, beautiful driving by Norris and a well-engineered car.
Yeah, and then the next six positions were Albon, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Stroll, and rounding off the top 10 was Danny Rick.
We had a Racing Point qualify above a Ferrari. I mean, a pink Mercedes beating a Ferrari. The Ferraris should be called a red horse then.
Yeah, true that. But besides, I think so Vettel's surprise and the Norris surprise, I don't think a pretty standard grid order from free practice of what we saw at least. And yeah, that set us up for a really, really amazing race.
Yeah. And then we move on to race day on Sunday. On Sunday, just hours before the race, you had Red Bull file a complaint against Lewis Hamilton for ignoring a yellow flag, for not slowing down during a yellow flag, and Lewis Hamilton was handed a 3-place grid penalty. So he moved from P2 to P5, which put Verstappen on the front row and Lando Norris into P3. So I think that played an important role in the race, and we'll see what happens.
Right, and then with the race starting very soon after that, because this protest from Red Bull for the Hamilton, this thing came really late into the day, like just a couple of hours before, or an hour and a half before the race started. So with the new lineup ready, we had the drivers take their positions on the grid, and it was lights out for the first time in 200 and something days. I've lost count at this point, but I mean
217. I've kept count. I mean, I missed this so much. Those words felt so good to the ears, man.
Exactly, and it was like, I mean,
patience paid off.
I was jumping up and down the room.
We were really happy to see those lights go out. So the race started off pretty well for Valtteri Bottas, who took off you had Max Verstappen too, who had a great start. You had Lando Norris off to a good start too. He kept applying pressure on that Red Bull. On the first lap, we saw Charles Leclerc going wide, but the excitement began after some time when you had the Racing Points holding off the Ferrari. I mean, you had a Racing Point able to defend a Ferrari and stay in front of it for quite some time.
So
Yeah,
let's
and
let's
both
put this into
Ferraris.
perspective. You had Vettel, who one time in I think last year Germany, he went from P20 to P2, and this year in the first race he was trying to defend. I mean, trying to go aggressive on a Racing Point.
And that too,
On a
Stroll's
Racing Point.
Stroll's
That's
Racing
just-
Point.
That just shows how bad Ferrari have it this season. I mean, things should be better for them eventually. Maybe, maybe not, but let's see what happens. We go ahead. You had Max Verstappen get a DNF 14 laps in, and I think that was a very painful moment for all of us. The boy who always wins in Austria, I mean, that is Max Verstappen's track. We've seen it in the past 2 seasons. We were expecting him to win again this season, but things didn't go that way. But Max Verstappen's retirement was due to an electrical failure.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Seeing the blue car slow down was just heartbreaking, man.
It was really sad. I mean, the orange fans, that would have been really, really painful for them.
If you think this was painful, you are yet to hear what's more painful.
Jeez.
Yeah, all the Red Bull fans, I mean,
Yeah.
our
Red Bull fans,
condolences, our condolences to you, man.
it's not a good day for Red Bull. It wasn't a good day for Red Bull.
And that's saying something, seeing that Kshitij is a Ferrari fan.
Yeah.
So, as we went ahead, you had Stroll's car with an engine problem. He wasn't able to keep the Mercedes engine wasn't able to keep pace in the Racing Point. So you had Vettel gain a position.
Right.
Let me add this to it.
Yeah.
If you remember in FP1, FP2, FP3 qualifying, in all these 4 sessions, that Mercedes power plant in the Racing Point, it had some issue. I mean, you could see white fumes coming out of exhaust.
Right.
So they said it was oil being overrun, but we can only say that we don't know for sure.
Yeah,
So I
we'll
guess
get to
that
it
problem
later, but
persisted
the
even
Mercedes
further.
team was... Sorry?
No, I said that problem might have persisted even further.
Right. We'll get to it a little later, but obviously we saw Mercedes, the engineers at Mercedes, begging with Hamilton and Bottas to go easy on the car and like just take care of it.
Yeah.
I mean, those cars were actually going at it. So anyway, as we move on, you had Daniel Ricciardo retire, which again is not a shocker. The Renault,
Yeah.
the Baguettes had done it again, and the team retired. So nothing much over there. And you had Stroll eventually retire because of his engine issue.
I mean,
No.
at this point, Renault not retiring would be a surprise.
Anyway,
Honestly, man,
So,
it's really bad for
yeah.
them right now.
terrible. So, you had Magnussen with a terrible brake issue. He had a front left brake failure, which caused him to go off the track and spin, which eventually got the safety car out. Now, that safety car again got us a spectacular sight. We got to see the Mercedes double pit stop. I mean, that is just beautiful to watch.
It's
You had-
poetry, man. Just to see the cars come in and go out and like that fluid. I mean, the amount of effort that goes into practicing that to the point where you can do it reliably is incredible.
Yeah, and then you had McLaren do that too. So, I mean, the double pit stop is actually one of my favorite things in F1 right now. I hope there are more of these. to come.
It's like a ballet dance. It's
Yeah,
it
brilliant.
looks good only if you do it very precisely correct.
I don't want to see Ferrari doing this. but during that pit moment, when Norris had left his pit and was on the pit lane, and you had Perez with a terrible, what's it called? An unsafe release, and Perez almost ran into Lando Norris over there.
I saw that incident live, and I was screaming because I was so sure that they were going to crash and take Lando out, and I was just dreading that. But luckily nothing happened. They both got on to the track, and Lando maintained track position. So I guess everything ended well.
And then a few laps later, we saw something that we've been seeing for a while now. I mean, that has happened so many times that I'm not surprised anymore. You had Vettel spin.
I think at this point, anytime any F1 driver spins, they owe Vettel a royalty, because we see it so many times. I mean, it's incredible.
The moment Vettel is...
Guys, cut. Sean, shut up!
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Who?
My brother, dude.
Okay.
Who was
continue.
it?
My brother. Continue.
Okay. So Vettel spun, and that was because he had contact with Carlos Sainz, the driver who's going to replace him in Ferrari. I mean,
all I have to say is awkward.
I mean, what might have been going through Sebastian Vettel's head? I mean, that can do some real psychological damage to the driver.
Wait, you want my seat? Let me give you my seat. Come here, boy. Sit on my lap.
So yeah, and then you had both the Mercedes really going at it. You had Hamilton right on Bottas's tail, and the Mercedes sensors were going off. Mercedes were having issues with their sensors, and it's mostly because of the curbs. Now the curbs caused a lot of vibrations in those cars. You had every team struggle with that. You had Racing Point, you had Renault, you had both the Mercs struggling, and the race engineers told the Mercs to stay off those curbs as much as possible. The vibrations caused a lot of those sensors to get damaged. As we move on, we had Grosjean retire, and on the same lap, Russell retire with a gearbox issue. So you had to... was it the same lap though? I'm not sure.
In quick succession of each other.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was
Yeah,
the exact
I
same
mean,
lap or if it was maybe
when
an
Grosjean
extra.
retired, a safety car came out, and then when safety car got out, immediately Russell retired. So that's when safety car came out again. So we had like 6 or 7 laps under safety car in a succession.
Yeah, and then because quickly after that, as soon as we got racing again, we had the Raikkonen incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
So
Raikkonen's tire was just like, yup, I'm out.
You know what I can do dash too. This is how we do dash. And then his tire just like, nope.
Instead of toe in, toe out, we have the wheel out completely. So
I think Raikkonen just missed his target. I think he was aiming for someone on the track, and I'm not going to speculate as to whom, but I mean, that thing was a missile.
yeah, and then you had Vettel right behind him. I mean, Vettel would have been really scared. And then you, at that same moment, I think you had the Albon pass Perez, but the safety car came out again, and Perez actually passed Albon again. That was because Perez wasn't able to slow down, but eventually Red Bull spoke to the race control, and Red Bull got their position back.
Right.
Now,
another thing I'd like to point out is during the Grosjean incident, when the safety car came out, at that point, Albon actually dove into the pits for soft, so he was on a much quicker tire and right behind the Mercedes at this point.
yeah, Albon was, that strategy actually paid off, but things changed really quickly.
So that
If you're a Red Bull fan right now, I highly recommend closing your eyes, shutting your ears, because things aren't looking...
Here's what happened. I think if you all remember 2019 Brazil really well, so that's what happened again. You had Lewis Hamilton go into Albon, and Albon spun again. For the second time, Albon was denied a podium by Lewis Hamilton. I mean,
and for second place, I mean, your heart just has to go out to the kid, man. It's just so sad.
My heart sunk when I saw that happen. Listen, literally, if I was in Albon's car, I would have drove back into Lewis Hamilton's car. I mean, I'm just like, okay, dude, I've had enough of your bullshit. Out. You go out
it
with
was,
me.
It was mad. I mean, it was clear though that Hamilton just didn't leave.
You know
him
what I
enough
think?
space.
I mean, Albon already had softs, and the hard tires of both the Mercedes were already worn out. So Albon could have waited. He didn't have to go aggressive just after the safety car. So I am not
but-
supporting this incident. I'm just saying that it's a race incident.
I guess
Shit happens.
knowing who Lewis Hamilton is, you should be a little wary. But I mean,
He'll obviously defend his position,
Hamilton
right?
closed
So-
the door on Albon, and I mean, you can't wait forever. So completely correct to give Hamilton the penalty that he got just after that.
Yeah.
He got a 5-second penalty for that. So
Yeah.
now talking about Ferrari in this race. So one thing we noticed was that the Ferraris were doing really well on those hard tires. You had Charles Leclerc move from P6 and he managed to pass Lando Norris with a spectacular move. It was a very ballsy move if you saw that.
It was
I mean,
incredible. I was yelling, like
I was on my
Properly yelling.
feet. I was on my feet screaming and I was like, oh my god, that was beautiful to watch.
And just
The
after
flop-
that, I think a couple of laps later, he actually got Perez as well to be a third on the track. But
Yeah,
then
third.
because of Hamilton's penalty and because of Hamilton's penalty, he finished second. So I mean, podium
He
for
finished second, yes.
Leclerc, which is incredible to see Ferrari finish second at this race where they qualified 7th and 11th.
See, I can definitely say that this race was one of the best races for Charles Leclerc. I think going from a terrible P6 in that Ferrari to a P2 was spectacular. I mean, it was really beautiful.
Right.
A great race for Charles Leclerc. Now
I mean,
another.
it was a very bad race for Racing Point. Then they bottled up this race.
They
Perez-
totally, they pulled off a Tottenham Hotspur on this anyway.
I think
total-
the pink tinge to the Racing Point comes from the red strategy of Ferrari last year because I mean it was just a disaster for them. To be fair though, it wasn't too much of a strategy issue. It was just they have
The car. Yeah, I felt the car wasn't that great. The car didn't perform as well as it performed in qualifying.
and I mean half their team is an idiot. So
Yeah. First of all, the other driver is just money.
right. So yeah.
Okay.
So but Perez got
yeah.
a 5-second penalty soon after that
For
for
speeding.
speeding in the pit lane.
Wait, who speeds in pit lane? And why?
They have to speed somewhere, I guess. They weren't speeding on the track, that's for sure. Yeah,
So-
but it was
Yeah,
incredible.
no, again, sad news for Red Bull fans again. You had Alexander Albon retire. I mean, that was.
I mean, to be
added-
fair, after the Hamilton incident, he was down in like 13th or something like that. So, not too much of a disappointment, I think, on that front. But the potential
Yeah.
for the Red Bull team, I mean, with these two young stars, is incredible. So, here's to the future Red Bull fans. I mean, I guess you can be hopeful.
So imagine
not
if
happy right
Albon
now.
actually had the P2 position after overtaking Hamilton, and then if he got a retirement, would that be
Oh, man,
more
that
painful?
would have been just heartbreaking.
That would have killed him, I mean, yeah. And then you had Kvyat retire on the same lap because his left rear tire just came off, I mean.
Kvyat's tire was talking to Raikkonen's tire, I think.
So I guess
Yeah,
I mean,
they
he
went
was
on-
also trying DAS, but on the wrong wheel.
His idea was to
tires-
expand the wheel, but that didn't help.
So you had Kvyat retire too. So in a total, we had 9 retirements in this race, which meant that
Nicholas
Williams.
Latifi
Latifi finished just 1 place
out of the points.
below out of the points. I mean,
If-
that's actually very great for a debut race.
Yeah, I mean, if Sebastian, when he spun, if he just tried something, if he just got a DNF at that point, I really wish it did, because Latifi would have got just a single point, even just a single point during his debut race. Imagine the
That would have been
feeling he
incredible.
get.
In a
That
Williams,
would have
no
been
less.
incredible. See, if Williams manages to get a point this season, I will shave my head. So,
Dude, you're just looking for an excuse to shave your head at this point. If the sun rises tomorrow, you'll shave your head.
so that was the Austrian GP. A very exciting. I mean, this is what we get if we wait for so long. And I mean,
Oh,
we
man, yeah.
are really.
No
Yeah,
one
I
waited
mean, I-
so long unless it was Lando. You know what he did in
my
last lap? Even he saw that he had the opportunity to get on podium.
Exactly,
He just
the
had to
last
get
lap of
5
Lando
seconds
was-
in close to Hamilton. So that last lap was
was blistering.
beautiful.
He
You
was
want to see some real speed?
he was setting purple sectors everywhere. I mean, and I think the margin that he got it by was like a tenth or 2/10.
2/10.
Hamilton.
Yes,
He got
something
under
like that,
480. He was 640, and
Yeah,
by the end of the
2/10,
last lap, he was
almost
480.
Yeah, 2/10
Okay,
almost
it was-
exactly. It was incredible to watch
So it was
that.
fantastic by Lando Norris. I mean,
And Lando
he's a
got the
20
fastest lap of the race, so I mean an extra point
Yeah.
for that.
Lando at the age of 20 is on a podium. Me
Dude.
at an age of 20.
He's writing files.
I have a YouTube channel.
That's just disappointing, dude. Don't even want to know.
I'm sitting here sipping my Red Bull.
Yeah, so surprising thing was Red Bull had no points coming out of Austria, where they were like they were looking to be the strongest, and yeah. So let's quickly run down the finishing, the driver
Yeah,
standings.
okay.
So you had
you had-
Valtteri finish in P1, win the race. He controlled the entire race. I mean, it was just a flawless drive on his part.
He led all the race laps over there.
Right. You had Leclerc in second, which was, I mean, we've spoken about this, but yeah,
Beautiful.
pretty
drive.
incredible. Norris in third, and I mean that hug, he hugged Zach Brown as soon as he got out of the car. That had me tearing up because it was just such
Yeah,
a
that
beautiful
was-
moment.
That was a beautiful moment. I mean, every Lando Norris fan. I mean, everyone's not just Lando Norris, F1
Every
fans.
fan, right? After
Every
seeing
fan right now.
everyone
that
has a
was
soft
beautiful.
spot for a McLaren, especially
Lando.
through all the nonsense that they've gone through in the last couple of years, and to see
Yeah.
them back on the podium after God knows how long has been incredible.
I think the last podium was 2019 Brazil because of the same.
Oh yeah, sorry, 2019 Brazil. Exactly.
Was this really
That's-
a Brazil 2.0?
Yeah, this was
Brazil.
exactly Brazil.
This was a Brazil 2.0. So every time Hamilton takes out Albon, it's a McLaren that gets a podium.
Yeah, this was incredible. Yeah, and then you had Hamilton finish fourth after his penalty. Sainz finished fifth. So a third and a fifth for McLaren, which is pretty incredible.
Very good in terms of points. Yeah.
You had Perez sixth after his penalty, Gasly seventh, Ocon eighth, so getting 4 points for the Renault team. You had Giovinazzi ninth, Vettel 10th, Latifi 11th, and that was it for the finishers of the 2020 race.
So in constructions, by that we have in construction championship we have Mercedes first, second is McLaren, and third is Ferrari. So,
Yeah, so
this
this
is
is gonna be
pretty good
interesting.
for an F1 season. Seeing McLaren in top.
Right.
Yeah, I mean how the tides have turned.
How the turntables. I believe
Yeah.
that's the phrase.
I mean, yeah, sorry. I'm just too excited after the race. I'm so sorry.
I really wish McLaren to win this season. At least the
I
constructors.
mean, yeah, man. It's going to take a miracle because of the Mercedes, but I mean,
No, by
maybe
FP1 we
the
know.
engines just all blew up and you have
Yes,
McLaren
yes. We
winning.
know that Mercedes power units this year are not as reliable as they were in
Yeah.
previous years. So McLaren do have a chance. And we know
Yeah.
Ferrari are Ferrari.
They
and the
will
next
find a
race-
way to screw up. Don't you
Yeah.
ever
They
doubt
will,
that
they will.
attitude.
And the next race is in Austria again.
Yeah, 4
it's-
days.
I think
4
Yeah.
days till we have practice again. I think they should cancel practice, the second practice at Austria, just to make it more interesting.
Oh my god, dude.
Because, one practice is enough. How much practice do they need at that one track? Let's just straight
true.
go. Let's do a reverse grid of the for lineup from the results of this race, and just go straight into the race in Austria. But
Yeah, but you'll have the Williams finish last.
Even then, Williams will be last. Yeah. There's no denying. There's absolutely no denying.
yeah, so let's quickly run through the DNFs from order of retirement. So you had Verstappen retire first, followed by Ricciardo, followed by Stroll. Then you had Magnussen's sensational retirement. The only time you'll hear Magnussen and sensational in the same sentence. You had Grosjean after that, immediately after that. Russell followed suit. And then you had Kimi Raikkonen, spectacular. Good try at DAS. I think it needs a little more work. Albon's heartbreak in the last few laps. And
That was a crusher.
yeah, and then Kvyat's tire decided it wanted to pull a Russia and just explode. So
Yeah.
that was the opening race of 2020. Here's to the second race, the double header, the second race in Austria in just a couple of days.
Hopefully, the next race will be as exciting as this one. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching this. Do follow us on social media. Stay safe. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Cheers. That's a cut,
Yeah.
right?